Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be doing some nice notes on inequalities with special, unique solutions. We're going to start it off, and we're going to just be talking about, we have done questions in the past where the final numbers that we were left over with looked something like this: 5 equals 6. And we had to go through the procedure of, is 5 equal to 6?
Nope.
No. And this was a false statement. And then we decided that false means NS, right? This is going to kind of come back a little bit. We also did questions like -3 is equal to -3. Is that true or false?
Yeah.
That's true. And do you remember the 3 letters for true? Nice job. ARN. Again, more proof that we've already learned all this stuff before. What about a question like this? This was really about as tricky as it could get before. 7 equals -7. What do you think, true or false? That's going to be false, which is going to be in S. I agree with you. Okay, now today we're going to be doing the same thing, but it's going to be with inequalities, which means it's going to be just a little bit harder. Okay, now it might say something like, instead of 5 equals 6, it might say something like 5 is greater than 6. Okay, it's not as easy as you're just looking to see if the numbers are the same. Is 5 greater than 6?
Nope.
No, this is false. That means it's going to be no solution. Okay, what about 6 greater than 5?
ARN.
That's going to be true. That's going to be ARN. Okay, what if we have -3 less than 2?
That's true.
-3 being less than a positive number, yes, that is going to be true, and those letters are ARN. It's okay. It happens. All right. Now, there are a couple of tricky setups. All right, so the first one is if we have something like -1 is greater than -2. All right. If you think about these negative numbers, we typically think that 1 is smaller than 2. But if we have both negatives, -1, if I make a little number line here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, whatever. If I make a little number line here, -1 is actually bigger than -2. So my advice for you, if you're thinking and comparing two negative numbers, it's the opposite of what you think. Okay? So these two negative numbers, is -1 greater than -2? That is true. That is ARN. What about, is -14 greater than -7? What do you think about these two? That is false. Again, we typically think about 14 being bigger than 7, but if you are comparing both negative numbers, it's kind of the opposite of what you think. -14 is very far down the list. -7 is a little bit down the list, but it's not as far down, so it's going to be an S. Now, the last thing that we might run into is, what if we see something like this? Okay? What if we see something like this? 5 greater than 5. So the question that you kind of ask yourself is, are we allowed to be equal to each other here? Is 5 allowed to be equal to the 5? In this setup right now, no. This is a false, this is a no solution. We are not allowed to be equal to each other. However, if we have -11 less than or equal to -11, now, are these allowed to be equal to each other?
Yes.
Yes. And so now, this is a true, this is a ARN. All right, I know that this is just me writing a bunch of random numbers on a notepad here, but this is basically the work for today. You got to end up with two numbers, and you got to decide, which one's bigger. Okay? So, at the top here, ARN is the solution when you have a true statement And in S is the solution when you have a false statement. Hopefully you have that up at the top of your notes already. We've got 6 questions. Let's see what happens when we solve the first question. I'm going to put a line down the equal sign. Today especially, guys, we want to move the x's first. Okay? So look on the right side if you have any x's and move these x's first. We're going to want to do plus 5x plus 5x. When I move those x's to the other side, 5 minus 5 is 0, of course. We're going to have 8 negative 3x plus 5x's is going to be positive 2x less than, and then we have 7. Okay, we're in a pretty good spot. We're going to now move our 8 to the other side, minus 8 on both sides. Again, very normal. We've done this procedure like hundreds of times, actually. 8 minus 8 is 0. And 7 minus 8 is negative 1. And we finish every question with divide, divided by 2. Now for this question, we're not left over with just number equals number or number inequality number. Okay, we still have an x. We still have a less than symbol because we divided by a positive number, so no flip. And then when we have a fraction left over, and if we can't tell, go to Desmos and just make Desmos do it for you. Negative 1 divided by 2. It tells me a decimal. Hit the fraction button. Okay. Negative 1 divided by 2, that's what it should be. Go back, and that's your answer. Negative 1 divided by 2. All right. Nothing, we did questions like this yesterday. That wasn't a big surprise. Nothing crazy going on. For number 2, line down our equal sign. I'm going to need to do some distributing. But we did questions with distributing yesterday, so again, more review. Hopefully you're writing this stuff down as we go along. Negative 9 times x is negative 9x. Negative 9 times 1 is negative 9. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. What do you want to move first for this question? Nice job. Minus 6x on both sides. Negative 9 minus 6, if you're not sure, you can always use Desmos. Negative 9 minus 6 is negative 15. That's still a minus 9 is less than still a minus 4. Now we want to move the 9 to the other side. Plus 9 plus 9. Negative 15x less than 5. And we want to finish this question like we always do, divided by negative 15. When we do that, we're going to get an answer. It's going to flip our sign because we divided by a negative. And just check your fraction on Desmos. 5 divided by negative 1, 5. Tells me a decimal. Hit the fraction button. Negative 1/3. All right. Negative 1/3. Okay, so far, nothing that we didn't do yesterday. They're maybe not the easiest questions in the whole world, but they're not too bad, okay? Pretty repetitive. We've done stuff like this before. Now, once we get down to questions 3, 4, 5, 6, we're going to see it switch up here, okay? Number 3 looks nice, looks short, looks pretty easy. I want to go ahead and move my letters first, so I'm going to do minus 4x on both sides. And right away, we're going to run into a problem. Okay? What's 4 minus 4? 0. And what's 4 minus 4? 0. Okay? If you remember when we first learned this stuff, we were playing that Call of Duty soundbite where it says mission failed. Right? I don't know if you guys remember that. It's been a long time. So, what just happened? All x's are gone. All right, all the x's are gone. So, what that means is that this question is a total mess, okay? We are not going to be able to have an answer that says x equals or x greater than or x less than because all the x's are gone, okay? What is left over? -7 greater than 7. And we just need to consider that. Just decide, is that a true statement or is that a false statement?
False.
That is a false statement. And because that is a false statement, what is the lettered answers that we're going to choose? NS. Which stands for?
No solution.
No solution. Nice job. Okay? We feel okay about that? Now, this is the new stuff for today, which again isn't really new. We've done this before. And notice, this is a short question. We're done with this literally one step and the question is over. Okay? Even though these are newer, harder, they're not actually harder. I think they're easier. Okay? All the x's go away, question's pretty much done. Alright? Now number 4 isn't so obvious right away. I have to do some distributing. But distributing, I mean, we've done it over and over again, so hopefully we're pretty good. 8 times x, 8x. 8 times -2, -16.
Oh, wait. You was the first one. I thought you switched to the other side.
I got you. So you got to make sure you get these other numbers. They're going to be super important. 4 times 2, there's my other 8x. And then 4 times -5, -20. Here's where I'm noticing, okay, we got 8x and we got 8x. And that's going to cause a problem because when I go to move these 8x's to the other side, 8 minus 8, 0. 8 minus 8, 0. We got a problem, just like the last question. All x's are gone. Right? Mission failed. We cannot solve for x any longer. What we have left is -16 greater than -20. This is one of those tricky ones. When you are comparing two negative numbers, it's kind of the opposite of what you think. So for number 4, even though I typically think that 16 is less than 20, when it comes to negative numbers, -16 is actually greater than. This is a true statement. And the 3 letters are ARN. And what does that stand for? All real numbers. Nice job. At this point, we've pretty much seen it all. Okay? We've seen a false statement, we've seen a true statement, we've seen an NS, we've seen an ARN. Like, we're just going to do these last 2 questions. Number 5. I don't have any distributing to do, so it's just time to go ahead and move my x's. Do you notice anything? Yeah. I'm noticing that our x's are going to end up canceling out. I'm doing plus 3x on both sides, and just like we thought, -3 plus 3 is 0, -3 plus 3 is 0. Same problem that we've had for every question here, right? All the x's are gone. So, if all the x's are gone, here's something that I recommend you write this, right? What's left over? 9 less than 9. Don't be so, I hate the word lazy, but don't be so lazy that you don't just write 3 quick signs. I mean, this takes like literally 1 second to write this down. Okay, write this down. What do you think? Is 9 less than 9? No. Are we allowed to be equal for this question?
No.
We are not. And so this is a false statement. Even though they're both 9, it is still false. Which is a shame, but that's what it is.
So way it could be ARN, like if it's like that same format as if it got the equal sign under it?
Yes. If you have two numbers that are equal and you have an equal sign, then you're good. But if you have two numbers that are equal and you don't have an equal sign, no good. Yeah, so if you're looking at something like this, maybe it's a -3 less than or equal to -3, that would be true. Because you're allowed to be true because you have that bar on the bottom. You know, this is the important one right here. All right, last question left. Line down the middle, distribute your 7. I'll give you a 60-second head start. Can you figure out number 6? Can you determine if it's an ARN, if it's an NS? Can you write it down? Number 6, you want to write anything? Anybody? I don't write them down.
Wait, I did it wrong. Wait, come back.
Yeah, like that. What do you say?
Is this right?
That one looks good. Well, you didn't get it right. You made it good. You made it good. Okay, so what do you think? ARN or NS? It is. All right, I checked a lot of people's. I know we're just practicing, and I saw a lot of mistakes. This is not meant to be all that crazy. I kind of warned you guys about how difficult the negatives can be. -7x, everybody's getting this part right. The 7's go away. Everybody's getting down here. -4 less than -7. And now it's on you. You got to determine the relationship of these two numbers. This one says that -4 should be less than -7. And is -4 less than -7? I typically think that 4 is less than 7. But if we're dealing with negative numbers, the opposite is true. -4 is actually greater than. So if you set it up like this, here's a little number line. Is -4 less than -7? It is not. This is a false statement. The answer is NS. Keep it on your toes.
When I had MS, you said it was wrong.
I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I just got confused. Answer's NS. Okay, take your time, especially with these negatives. Be careful. All right. If you check out the back, you got 10 questions. You're going to have to type this in on Canvas as well. So make sure you got Canvas ready. I want to point out to you really quick question number 6. All right. Question number 6 has been scaring a lot of people today.
Why no other X?
Why is there no other? All right, so there is no other X. You're right. There's only one. There's only one X. That's okay. We can still solve this. All we need to do is look for combining these like terms on the right side. This is actually going to be a short, pretty simple, easy question that's going to be pretty quick. I know it's a little bit ugly because we're missing an X, but that's okay. You can still solve it. It's one of the shortest questions on the whole page. Okay? There's a little bit of a tip for how to solve number 6. Okay?